Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared later. An amendment to the ISO Management System Standards was recently announced. Alan Jones is a lead consultant with Qudos and a qualified certification auditor for multiple ISO standards. He is here now to discuss the amendments and how you can address them within your system.
Hello everyone. Normally changes to ISO standards involve one or more drafts being published and a lengthy consultation process. So it was a surprise to most people when ISO recently announced the immediate publication of amendments to many of its management system standards. This surprise move has led to some criticism. We don't plan to get into the debate here, but to explain what the amendments are and what you might do to address them. The amendments are on the topic of climate change. They apply to all the major management system certification standards, and the amendments are basically the same in each standard. The changes are in Clause 4, context of the organization, and specifically to clauses 4.1 and 4.2, as illustrated here in this clause structure for ISO 45001. The amendment to clause 4.1 is the addition of the sentence, "The organisation shall determine whether climate change is a relevant issue." This is a mandatory requirement, and that's illustrated by the use of the word shall. The amendment to clause 4.2 is the addition of a note, and this is really a reminder to be aware that requirements may be related to climate change. Both clauses lay the foundations for planning a management system, and that may lead to other changes elsewhere in the system. A key question for any organisation that is either seeking or maintaining certification to a standard is, when do we have to address the amendments? The answer will depend on your CB or certification body. Here's Johnny Tran, the Business Development Manager of Citation, a leading CB.
Thanks, Alan, and hi, everyone. Currently, JASANS, the certification body regulator, has not unveiled a transition program yet. So for now, we are holding off on assessing our clients to those latest changes during our certification audits. However, rest assured, we are keeping a close watch and will adjust accordingly when the time comes. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding as we navigate these updates together.
We've checked with a number of CBs, and they tend to fall into two groups. One is where they have implemented the amendments immediately, and some, like Citation, that are holding fire until receiving guidance from their accreditation authority. Our advice will be to check with your CB, but also to take steps now to be ready when the need arises. So let's take a look at how you can address the amendments. A typical way to address clause 4.1 in any standard is with a situational analysis, otherwise known by the acronyms PESTEL and SWOT, PESTEL being illustrated by the factors listed here. When determining if climate change is an issue for your organisation, I would suggest looking at it in two ways. The first is to consider if any actual or likely changes in the climate may affect your ability to comply with requirements. The second is the implication of any wider changes in attitude on the subject. For example, government grants or incentives, any new legal or regulatory requirements, or changes in customer sentiment towards certain products and services and the manner in which they're delivered. We would suggest reviewing and updating any situational analysis that you have in your system. A typical way to address clause 4.2 in any standard is by preparing an interested parties table or register. The subject of climate change could be considered in terms of obligations and also needs and expectations. Once again, we would suggest reviewing and updating any interested parties table that you have in your system. And finally, a good way to ensure that you address the requirements and provide further evidence is to include discussions of those elements in a management review, as illustrated here in this agenda, where we've got step 4, which is changes to the context of the organisation, and agenda item number 5, which is interested parties and their needs and expectations.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you everybody for joining us. The templates shown are taken from Qudos 3 IMS software. We have also updated the relevant guidebooks and gap analysis templates. A recording of this webinar will be published on our website, along with links to download free copies of the ISO amendments and further information. Registration for the next webinar will be advertised as usual on our website, our LinkedIn page, the banner within the software, and in our Qudos Club newsletter, which you can sign up for on our website. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions.